action. Hi, everybody. Good morning. This is Paul Finkelstein at OMG Talk or OMG Talk Show, the small business entrepreneur and professional podcast. I've had over 300 small business owners so far, and here's maybe 301. Actually, it's a little bit more than 301. I think it's more like 320-ish. I lost track already. But today we have our special guest she'll tell us where, Deborah Laurel. Looks easy enough name to say over a Zoom call. How are you today, Deborah Laurel?
I am wonderful. How are you, Paul?
Fantastic. Looking forward to learning all about you in 4 questions and condensing your entire life into 15 minutes. Can I do it? Let's find out. So our first question today is very simple because you could do it like the back of your hand better than I can or anybody can. If you could tell us, what exactly do you do and about how long have you been doing it?
Okay, I design curriculum and deliver accelerated learning training programs, as well as peer learning groups. And I have been developing and delivering training for over 35 years. I started when I was 2.
Wow, 2 years old. So that's going to lead me. Remind me when we get to question number 4. It's going to tie into that. Any other details that you want to say, or I'll go to question number 2.
I design training so that participants, whether they are managers, employees, or trainers, get the practical skills they need and practice them in the classroom. So when they go back out into the world, they are already confident in their own competence, and they will put what they've learned into practice immediately.
So tell us 2 of your favorite success stories. Now that could be business or personal, up to you, or give as much as you'd like, or give more than 2. So if you could give us 2 of your favorite success stories, that would be great.
Okay, well, one of them is that I consulted with the J.J. Strassmayer University in Osijek, Croatia, to help design the first Eastern European master's degree program in entrepreneurism. And that program has since graduated over 100 graduates who have started new businesses. So I started with them right after the war, when they had lost their infrastructure and entrepreneurism was not a cultural value. So that is, I think, one of the greatest impacts that I've had. I designed the highest rated training for the US Department of Energy. And this was regarding the National Compressed Air Challenge. And I designed the training, worked with the engineers who were to present it, taught them how to use interactive activities. And that program continues to this day. And then the third that I wanted to mention, that I've trained and certified over 500 trainers in Jordan, Nigeria, Kenya, Zambia, United Arab Emirates, and Croatia.
Wow. So that's quite an interesting life there. So why don't you tell us what motivates you to jump out of bed every day, and if you make your bed?
I love designing training. And I love getting in front of a group and working with them and learning from them as we work together to design new training or to develop skills. I always learn from the participants, and so it makes it very exciting. That's what I love to do.
And remember that first question you said, since you were 2 years old, you had mentioned
Yes.
everything that you do. And this last question, curious, is where did you get your passion in life? Was it when you were at a young age, hint, that you knew what you'd be doing then, you'd be doing what you'd be doing today, you learned from an early age? So you mentioned 2, so I'm curious, how did you know when you were 2 years old that you'd be doing what you're doing today?
Well, it wasn't quite 2, but when I was 8, I was either going to be a ballerina or I was going to work in international relations. And I can't tell you why I had such a disparate choices. But what is interesting is that for 14 years, I have done international work. And that has been, in designing curriculum and training trainers. And so I guess that I have fulfilled that dream.
Well, I do have an award for you here. It's your certificate. This is your certificate for letting me cram your whole life into 15 minutes. Here you go. I'll pass it through the camera. You can take it on your end.
Thank you
Excellent.
very much.
But I know it's not fair to cram anybody's life, including yours, into 15 minutes. And if somebody wanted to get a hold of you and get more of your time to learn more about what you do or schedule a consult or something, how would you want them to reach out to you? Maybe look you up on Facebook, LinkedIn, say a phone number on Zoom call, or get in touch through me to get in touch with you. What's the or say a website or email address? Now, which one would you prefer, or multiple ways to reach you?
There are several ways to reach me. I have two businesses, laurelandassociates.com. That would be the first website. And the other is the Peer Learning Institute. And that's at peerlearninginstitute.com. So those would be two ways to reach me. My email is D for Deborah Laurel, Laurel, at laurelandassociates.com. And my phone number is 608-255-2010.
Excellent.
I'm also on LinkedIn as Deborah-Laurel.
Perfect. Today we've been talking to, actually, before we wrap up, I wanted to ask if you had any other special announcements before I wrap up.
Special announcements.
Workshops, events, things you want to make our listeners aware of regarding your business.
Well, I'm going to be doing a 2-day Train the Trainer for an agency. And I'm looking into scheduling my typical 5-day Train the Trainer program in the near future for the public. That 2-day training is for an agency. I love doing Train the Trainer. That is the most exciting thing for me, because they have such an impact on everyone else. The other thing that I want to mention, we haven't talked about, is the peer learning groups that I set up. The whole idea there is to help managers who are promoted because of their technical expertise or their longevity with the organization or high volume of sales, and they're put in management positions with the assumption that somehow that expertise is going to translate into management, and it doesn't. And so we use small peer learning groups in-house to help managers develop skills that they need to deal with the current issue, such as dealing with a hybrid workforce. And they meet twice for 2 90-minute sessions separated by a month of reinforced practice. So they're not just going to a class and then forgetting what they learned. They're going to a class, they're working together, learning something new, putting into practice, and then held accountable for doing that, because they meet after that month for a second session with their group.
Excellent. Sounds very interesting. So today we've been talking to Deborah Laurel. She told us what exactly she does, how long she's been doing it. She gave us 2 of her favorite success stories. She told us what motivates her to jump out of bed every day and if she makes her bed. And then she told us when she got her passion in life, whether that was at a young age, like 2 or 8 or 10, or was it later in life for a transition. She'll have to go back and listen, or an old term, rewind, etc., to find out all those answers. And you can also listen to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and my YouTube as well. You could also find that over at omgtalk.com and just click on the podcast menu item to see all the links to all of those podcasts and YouTube. Thanks for joining us. I'm Paul Finkelstein at omgtalk.com, the small business owner and Guest podcast. Thank you, Deborah.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.